So welcome everyone to our session. We'll introduce ourselves, but of course this is exploring outside your comfort zone. So again, trying to tie in that overall universal of possibilities in student affairs and higher education theme that we have going on at EPSA 2020. So my name is Chelsea Peters, and then I'll let Jess and Joy kind of introduce herself and we'll go into more formal introductions. Do you want to do that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so this is just the general layout of what we're going to do today. So we're going to go introductions, talk about different department snapshots to kind of get you guys thinking about different areas across higher education and also just student affairs. We'll talk about design thinking and prototyping and what that means throughout your professional and personal careers, as well as some LinkedIn and networking tips as well. So introductions, again, my name is Chelsea Peters and I am a career advisor here at the University of Central Missouri. I've actually been in higher education a short time frame. I started my journey in January of 2020. So it's been a really great year of challenge, but also really great creativity and inspiration. So I'm really thankful to be part of a great team. So I'll let everyone introduce themselves and then we'll give just a short snapshot of like what our office does, and then we'll probably talk more about that later on.
I'll go next. So my name is Joy Grinko and I'm a career advisor here at UCM as well. Chelsea and I are the two career advisors here on campus, and I have been here for a little over a year now. I've been working in higher ed, student affairs for a while now. I've had different roles in student activities, in residence life. I did some alumni affairs, things like that. So I'm excited to kind of share some of our insights and kind of what exploring outside your comfort zone and seeing what other opportunities are out there.
And I'm Jessica Johnson. I'm the Assistant Director of the Career Services Center at UCM. I get to oversee both these two lovely women. I have been at UCM since August of 2015, and I started my career services journey that fall as well. So I went on my 6th year in career services, and then I was in Greek life for a little while and did admissions for a couple years as well. And yeah, I'm excited to show the viewers here some other areas of higher ed that maybe they haven't thought about. So excited.
Awesome. So I'll just quickly describe pretty much what career services is, since that's the department we come from. Pretty much anything related to career and career development is really what we focus on in our office, and that's typically what most career services offices do focus on across the country and broadly than that. So if in our office, we really like to focus on the educate and connect piece with our students. So we educate everyone, especially if it comes to different applications, whether that be for job searching, internship searching, your graduate professional school search, the documents that go along with that. So resumes, cover letters, personal statements, all of that great stuff that goes along with different parts of your career journey. We hold different webinars, different meet and greets with employers, which is where that connection piece comes in. We really try and help our students, whether they be undergraduate, graduate, or alumni, get different opportunities and connect them with that. So we're all very passionate about this and really helping students kind of see where they develop over time and really trying to get that education and connection piece moving forward. So we'll get started with some of those department snapshots. This was something that we kind of thought about together as a team, trying to bring different areas of higher education and student affairs into perspective. So I know I had met with my mentor or my mentee earlier today, and he had mentioned it. It's kind of like he knows what book he needs to grab, but he's not really sure where to go in that book or what to read, because it's just so broad of an information. So we're hoping by picking apart different areas on campus that it might be a little bit easier to digest and understand how broad this really is and where you might fit. All right, admissions.
All right. So I had admissions. So what Chelsea, myself, and Joy did was we each took two specific offices that we feel like maybe doesn't get as much attention when our current, master's students or even undergrad level students start to look in higher ed roles. So I had admissions, and we broke it down into some categories. So within each snapshot, we'll talk about some key skills, position titles, challenges, different national organizations. So it'll be really neat to break down each department. So I actually interviewed Chris Lang, who is our associate director here at UCM. And these are some of the things that he said. So when he's looking, so 3 skills that he feels like definitely to have when he's hiring in admissions is attention to detail, good communication skills, and also marketing and presentation skills, which I've worked in admissions, and I would definitely say these are definitely skills you'd want to have. 3 position titles that students could be looking for, because as we all know, higher ed likes to call things different across the board. So admissions representative or admissions counselor. I was called an admissions counselor at my admissions role. I think they're called admissions reps here. Assistant and associate director, and then eventually a director level. 3 challenges that he talked about currently that admissions is facing is decreasing enrollment in high school demographics, which probably a lot of you have heard of, decreasing state support for higher education, depending on the state you're in. Unfortunately, Missouri is one of those that we are seeing decrease in state support, and then increase in scrutiny of higher education versus the cost. And then moving on to benefits of working in admissions. So you can gain skills that really can translate into a lot of different industries. There's a lot of sales that goes on in that marketing, presentation, public speaking, all of that. Experience also, I agree with him 100% in that high pressure, like very quickly paced environment, which can translate into a lot of other industries as well. And then networking opportunities are plentiful, because as you're going through and to different college fairs and high schools, you meet a lot of people. And so networking is really crucial there. He also gave a really, really great piece of advice. I'm not going to read through all of it, but really what he wanted you guys to know is, be ready to learn, go with the flow and develop as much professional identity as you can, and be able to be creative in any kind of role that you have in admissions, and be competitive and goal oriented, and you'll be in great shape. And then he also gave me some really great national organizations that correlate with admissions.
All right. So I had the opportunity of interviewing career services, and I spoke to our director, Amber Gorham, that gave me some really great insights about our office. So 3 skills that we look for when hiring in our department is definitely having a passion for helping students and connecting them with employers and different opportunities. Being a team player, so being able to really function well in a team, it's really crucial for the overall success of our department. So, for example, Jess, Chelsea, and I, we put this whole presentation together. We're passionate about students and we really work very well together. So it really is a big team effort. And 3, effective communication skills, so verbal and written. We do a lot of class presentations. We present to students in classrooms. We do conferences. We also teach a career readiness class. So that verbal communication, presentation skills are very important in this role. And 3 position titles that can vary, like Jess was saying, throughout every department. But specifically in career services, career advisor, which that's what Chelsea and myself are, employer relations coordinator, and even a peer advisor. So those are just a few of those job titles you'll see. And a few challenges. So student engagement. Unfortunately, a lot of students don't understand that, seeing us early on is beneficial. So we have a holistic approach of career services where we love seeing students their freshman year all the way to their senior year. But a lot of times they only come see us their junior, senior year when they kind of feel like, oh, now I need to get my professional development in check, right? So that's one struggle that we face. 2 is budget and funding. So we do have limited staff and resources in our office, and we do the best we can. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of funding for the things we really want to do to scale our office, which kind of goes with number 3 is the scalability piece and making sure that all students are career ready. So we are trying to get away from the one-on-one appointment model and find ways that we can help students anywhere at any time with, we started a podcast in our office. We are trying to provide resources for everyone to utilize, and not only that one-on-one appointment model. So that's one of the challenges we're facing.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you start getting students to realize, like, searching and learning about careers early? Because I know, like myself, like when I was an undergrad, I didn't really realize what I wanted to do until my senior year, like right before I was about to graduate, and it was definitely not what I went to school for, so having those experiences and getting those students to really understand that importance, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, and that's a really great question. And that's something that we're constantly trying to evaluate and find ways to reach out to students and educate them on that piece. What we do is we love, a lot of our role is connecting and building relationships with our faculty members. So the faculty that work with freshman students and their foundations courses. So we try and embed ourselves in their curriculum and come into the classroom and present to them, just do an introduction of the importance of developing, your career portfolio and how to kind of start thinking about it early on. So that's one way we're trying to do it, by connecting with faculty and trying to educate our students. We have a class that we try and promote students to be a part of. So I don't know, Chelsea, Jess, do you have any other insights? Because I know this is one piece where we're always struggling with.
Yeah, I think you touched on it, Joy, because it's trying to, again, build those better partnerships in other ways, because we understand that, of course, we're the external resource, and students see their faculty members in their classes, so that's that really high touch point. So I think that's something that, again, the scalability piece is something that's continually ongoing, and trying to understand how to best communicate with students, because, of course, the demographic of students changes continually. So understanding kind of where they're at, what kind of new needs or old needs that they might have, and how that transitions over time, is really something that kind of we keep our ear to the ground as best we can to really understand what needs to be done. But yeah, part of that piece is really just making the better connections with faculty and trying to help that situation there, and then find other ways for the career development to work out.
Yeah, hope that helped answer your question. Okay, so the 3 benefits of working in our office, and I have to say it is amazing. And I've worked in a variety of different areas in student affairs, and career services has to be one of my favorite. The impact you make on the student and alumni lives is amazing. Hearing their success stories about where they're going in the future, helping them for months and months put their graduate school applications together, and then seeing them get into their dream school, or having that internship that they've always dreamed of, and that role right before they graduate. It's just really rewarding. It has to be one of my favorite things. And it makes me excited to wake up in the morning to go to work, knowing that I'm helping students every day. And again, we have a really great team. So we do work one-on-one, and we have our different roles and projects that we do, but we also collaborate, and having that family-oriented team in our office is amazing, right? And again, making those connections. So with our office, we're working with employers all the time, and we're networking all the time. So having that relationship with everyone across the region, and being able to, you never know where those opportunities might lead. So it is a really, really great place to work. I might be a little biased. And some advice for individuals looking to pursue career services. It's really connecting with our department, finding out what ways you can either volunteer, do internship work, or even just shadow one of us one of these days to see what we do on a day-to-day basis is really important. Gaining those additional experiences, in your current role, if you have an opportunity to be a part of a committee where you get to bring on a new team member, right? That's something that you could use, and that's relevant to career services. So the more you get involved and you immerse yourself and just network overall, that will really help you in trying to get a role in career services. And underneath, if you want to learn more, we definitely recommend looking up NACE, which is our National Association of Colleges and Employers. There's the Career Services Collective, which is awesome. and the Midwest Association of Colleges and Employers. And there's so many more. So if you really want to get to know any of these different areas, look up those professional organizations because they can definitely help you explore more in those areas. Okay, so next was student activities. And I love this because I also had a role. I was a director of student activities for 2 years at a school in New York. But I ended up interviewing Christina Kern, which is, she's in student activities, and she gave me some really great insights on the different, things that we have on here. So 3 skills when looking for hiring in student activities is definitely adaptability. And this is really important because when you're planning events, they never go as they should and as you wish. So being really flexible and adaptive and being open to what the needs are of the students is important. And creativity, right? So being creative, finding other avenues to really connect individuals and build that community up, and a passion for working with students. That is crucial. And you'll see that's a commonality in all the departments working in higher ed. The big key is student success. So having that passion for working for students is important. I had 3 position titles. So coordinator, assistant director, manager. Some common office titles are student activities, campus activities, student involvement, student leadership. Sometimes student activities can fall under Greek life as well, student government, programming. So student activities is very big, so it can fall under a lot of different titles. And 3 challenges is long hours, and I can attest to this. Sometimes we'd have to supervise events, and I would be there until 3:00 in the morning when there's a big social going on, and then say an incident happens, and then you have to handle that. So the hours are very long and taxing sometimes. So you really need to understand that work-life balance and trying to, keep your sanity. Number 2 is there's not enough staff and money, right? And again, this is common across the board. And 3 is outside groups see that this department as really fun, and it's discredited a lot. And really, people don't necessarily value this department as seriously as they would others. But, it is very important because you are connecting people together and making sure they have a great experience and have that social support. So it is a very, very important area to work in, but sometimes is discredited. Okay, so 3 benefits. So every day is different and new. So it's not like you're working in a job where it's very monotonous and you're doing the same thing over and over. It's always new, it's always changing and exciting, and the people you meet it's a fun time. Number 2 is being able to work with students and help them grow and develop in a safe and fun environment. So again, you're working one-on-one with students all the time, which if that's something you're passionate about, you enjoy student activities. And also you're working with a diverse group and a lot of student clubs, organizations, a lot of different areas where you can just meet all different people, perspectives, and things like that. And some advice for individuals looking to pursue student activities is embrace the chaos. So no 2 days are the same in student activities. So if there is something that excites you about that, then you would be a great fit. And then underneath what to learn, if you want to learn more, here are some of those professional associations to look into.
Okay, and I also had financial aid. So I interviewed Tony Lubers, who is our current director of financial aid at UCM. The 3 skills that he said when he looks for hiring new financial aid individuals is ability to reason, so very high level thinking, the ability to focus, and then they deal with a lot of student traffic. So having that customer service piece is really crucial for them. And then 3 position titles that he felt like were kind of more entry level could be financial aid counselor, financial aid coordinator, work study supervisor, even a loan coordinator. And then 3 challenges. Budget, as you can see across the board, is one that's common. Having efficient processing system softwares, which I think a lot of people run into as well. Just having really good technology is expensive. And then student and parents to actually understand the financial aid process. And then benefits, satisfaction that you do get to help families every day. So it's a little bit different, maybe in a sense of the student activities, career services advising piece, but you still get to help, that satisfaction piece that you've gotten money for students to go to school. The job is very challenging. So he said that was he thought something that was beneficial. And then financial aid also has a really great support network all over the country. And so he feels like he's met a lot of really great individuals in the area of financial aid. And he also wanted me to plug in that there is a lot of openings right now in financial aid. So I plugged that in on screen. Advice that he had was highlight your analytical skills in the resume cover letter process, develop longevity within the field. So, don't get out of it, stick with it. Show that you're trainable, even if you don't have any experience. So if you don't have any kind of knowledge of financial aid systems or abilities, just show that you can be trained and that you're excited. And then also there is listed different organizations that you can look into. He said that through the national organization, they have like 17 credentials that you can get certified, which I thought was really cool. So I plugged that in there as well.
All right, so I'll try and be quickly in the latter half of this since I know we're running lower on time, but one of the offices that I had talked to was in Registrar, so I talked to Heather McGrath, and she's a systems coordinator in that office. So 3 key skills that are looked for when hiring Registrar are definitely to be organized, because you're dealing with a lot of different transcripts and even graduation stuff, so and that also hands into the detail orientation, so making sure that you not only organize and you keep everything together, but you pay attention to those small details, because it could make or break something that you're working on a project. And strong communication skills. So they are typically the office, besides like admissions and things like that, that deals with the whole student body. So communicating across campus and in different partnerships is really important. 3 potential titles that are in Registrar to look for when job searching are Registrar, Systems Coordinator, and Articulation. So typically this is an office that kind of stays similar in its job titles, but these are ones that are, it's at least specific to UCM, but are often seen in the Registrar world overall. 3 challenges in Registrar. So staffing challenges and a budget reduction time. I know Heather had commented on this, especially because it's already typically a smaller office, but working forward, staffing is just, it's an easy place to maybe cut some people. So that's something to take into consideration. Being kept in the loop for communication on campus is very important. So I had mentioned having those campus partnerships is really imperative, and keeping that flow across the organization is really important. And product knowledge for students and staff and faculty about what the office is responsible for is really important, just because it changes consistently. And of course, again, that whole campus piece, you have to kind of know what's happening across the board, and being really in tune to that. And that's why that communication and being really relevant in other areas is so important. So if you're not a people person, even though Registrar is kind of on its own, definitely working with people more than just the student side is incredibly important. Benefits of Registrar, so good things. I thought this was a great idea that we brought into this, just because, of course, this year feels all doom and gloom, so it's nice to kind of talk highly of your area. So conferring degrees to help students reach their goals, I can understand how that would be incredibly rewarding to them, especially because you often, depending on how long you've been in that area, you might see students that come through and then you are giving them their diploma at the end and preparing them for graduation, which is really exciting. Providing tools for success progression. So a lot of those understandings like this, we have central degree audit here at UCM. So understanding like how they can track their progress throughout their degrees, what courses would match up, which don't. And so they satisfy all their areas. And then being a help center for students. Of course, we talked a lot about in other areas, helping students is really a part of that. But of course, this is the place where they have to either get their degree or not, and if it all works out. So that's another piece of that advising that's really important in being that central help. Advice for individuals looking to pursue Registrar. So being prepared to follow the rules, and often they are the area that enforces policies and rules and procedures of the institution. So, and I thought it was great that Heather mentioned be confident that sometimes the answer is no. So it's okay to say no, and people might get upset and angry with that. But at the end of the day, a policy is a policy and a procedure is a procedure, and you don't want to maybe make something illegal happen. To learn more, Heather offered some different associations there. So the at CREO, I believe I'm saying that correct, is a national level, and then they also have the McCREO, which is their Missouri Association, to look into as well. All right, and then sponsored programs and research integrity. I always think this is an interesting office. I've kind of gotten some more interesting feedback from Sarah Craig, which is the director of sponsored programs, to kind of see what this is like, because it is a very broad office in what they do. So 3 skills look for when hiring and sponsor programs is you have to be detail oriented, again, organized, much like Registrar, and being a good problem solver. So Sarah and I had talked about that it's really important to be a little bit creative in these areas, just because you're dealing with a lot of grant writing as well as different research perspectives. So it's kind of a real creative outlet, but it's strategic in that way. 3 position titles to look for. So research administrator, which is an RA, a program administrator, a PA, or a research integrity officer, which is a RIO. So they apparently are heavy on acronyms. So RA versus in housing versus RA in sponsored programs is something to keep in mind as well. 3 challenges in sponsored programs. So post-award oversight, so how people manage their money and making sure that they're doing correctly by their funder and their grants is really important to manage. Meeting funders' deliverables and requirements, so making sure, again, you're spending responsibly and you're also reporting everything to the individual that you're getting money from. And then time management. So of course, not only with grant writing, but the research, usually there's a lot of timelines and things, the processes you have to go through. So it's a very process-driven office. So managing your time efficiently is incredibly important. 3 benefits of sponsored programs. So camaraderie in the office and nationally. I thought this was really incredible that Sarah had talked about, that she feels like that she has allies in just about like different offices across the country, but also in their national organization. So when they talk about that they go to different conferences, it's like a welcoming home. It's very fun and intimate, which is I thought was really interesting, because you often see it in student affairs, but not too much to where it's like a really exciting thing. Like we know everybody, because it's often very large organizations. They're all there to help people. And then also it's important it's fun to not be siloed. So again, having that camaraderie is a really great piece of it. And advice for individuals looking to pursue sponsored programs. So that could be grants, research integrity, just things related to that. It's just don't be intimidated, because grant writing and even relating to a lot of research integrity, it can be, it seems very large and scary. So just being open to learn and understand how that process might work and how different it changes. And it's very interesting how different things can change from funder to funder to program. And really it's a centralized office to help the whole community of the campus. And then I did find out that there are master's programs for sponsored programs work. There are not very many of them in the United States or just globally, but they are starting to become more regular. And there's specific schools for that, but if you are so much interested in this, you can go to graduate school for it. And then NACURA is one of their larger administration organizations, and they also have different socials, which have really great videos that are interactive that Sarah commented on that were really fun to look at.
Okay, and then we also wanted to go through like special populations. I won't read through all of these, but you can see here's a really great list of other areas to maybe consider. And I told Chelsea and Joy this that
I didn't do it.
Basically what I did was I went on higher ed jobs and I looked at different categories, and a lot of these are on there. And then academic departments, you can just stay here, Chelsea.
Okay.
Academic departments. A lot of times certain universities will do things a little bit differently. So maybe they might have an admissions person in a certain academic program, or a career services advisor in a certain program, or even academic advising. So don't be afraid to also look in academic fields when you're searching, because you might find a student affairs position in more of an academic affairs setting. So definitely check those out too. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through design thinking. We want to show you this short video that really, I think, explains it perfectly. So,
can you all hear it?
Designing Your Life is a guide to help anyone learn how to think like a designer in order to figure out what life and career it is they really want and how to get it. Designers approach problems in a particularly creative way. They begin by really trying to understand first what's going on, and then they define what problem it is they're actually solving. Once they do that, they use design techniques to generate lots of ideas. And the better ideas they use to build little experiments. We call them prototypes, to try those ideas out. From the prototypes, they can pick their best ideas, the ones that really work for them. The first thing we do is we get rid of bad ideas. We call these dysfunctional beliefs. These are ideas that don't work and they get people stuck. Then we give you a new idea. We call it a reframe. That gives you a new way of thinking and frees you up to be more creative. We've been developing Designing Your Life for over 15 years. We've talked to over 2,000 students here at Stanford, and we regularly hear back from our students 3, 5, even 10 years after graduation. And what we hear from them is they're continuing to use the process, and it's really working for them. The research shows directly that people using our life design method to design their lives will have more ideas, be more creative, are less anxious about the future, and are more confident in their ability to build the life they choose. We find that most people who want help designing their life fall into one of 3 categories. They're in their early 20s, just starting out in their career, and don't really know where to begin. Or people between 30 and 50, in the middle of a life and a career, who are wondering if and how it's time to make a change. And then there are people who are in their encore phase of life. These are folks in their late 50s to their 70s, and they're looking for the thing to do after their career. So they are really all asking the same question. What do I want to do with the rest of my life? And how do I get there? And our life design methodology works for anyone.
Okay. Awesome. No.
okay, so Chelsea's going to back out of this.
You can say it back.
So while she's doing that, so the reason why we bring up Designing Your Life is this is hopefully going to be the next phase of our career services model. We are super excited about this book, about the concepts, about how it affects our students. And I think it's the new wave of the future for career services, career counseling. And so we're excited to be aboard early on. And so actually our office is getting to do the training virtually with Stanford University in December. And we are beyond pumped for this. So we wanted to show you a little bit about the book. So with all the different chapters, most of them, I think there's like 3 that doesn't, most of them all have really cool activities. And these are just some of the activities that the book entails. So when you start to look up this book, you'll see some of these activities that are really, really helpful when building students and what they're thinking about doing with their career right after graduation and beyond. So I won't go through all these because I know we're running on time. But the biggest things that we wanted to talk to you guys about today is when we're working with students, we want them to use this concept of prototyping. So reframing those dysfunctional beliefs like they talked about in the video to like, how can I create new things that I can be doing? How can I experiment? How can I explore? Can I do informational interviews? I got out of my master's degree and I'm in a department and I'm not really liking it. So what can I be doing to reframe my situation and create a better one? So these are just some of the really cool terms that they use in the book if you do decide to read it. And then the biggest thing, they call it a life design interview. It's a fancy way to say an informational interview. But what we want students to really grasp from this concept is it's simple. It's getting someone's story. It's hearing them speak about how they got to where they are. It's not a job interview. It's about building a relationship, listening, and asking questions. And then we won't play this video, but they do have a COVID series for Designing Your Life, which is really, really awesome. So we thought we'd highlight this so students could go and check it out on YouTube.
All right. And I know we have a few minutes left, so I wanted to just quickly touch base on networking and the importance of it, right? And I want to challenge all of you to get out of your comfort zone and do something that scares you. And I know a lot of times networking is that thing, right? It can be an uncomfortable situation to try and branch out. You know, some people are very introverted. You feel kind of awkward during that process. But really all networking is, like Jess mentioned before, it's about building relationships, right? And there's a lot of benefits that come through networking. You can gain valuable insights and rich information, right? So that those informational interviews that you can gain from others. So, you know, if you want to learn and explore different departments in higher ed, start reaching out to those people, learn about their day-to-day life, what they do, see if that's something that interests you and excites you. Because you can, there's one aspect of, yeah, you can theorize what you might like, but you won't actually know until you speak to someone about it, right? Or you might not, there might be some opportunities that you're missing that would be really great and can give you some awesome career fulfillment. So it's really important to just connect with other people, you know, and gain that information. You also want to gain visibility and you want to create a professional presence, your professional brand, put yourself out there. And also with networking, you gain a ton of opportunities. So we always say in our office, 80% of jobs are found through networking, right? So it's a very alarming statistic that only 20% of jobs are found on job boards. So it's really essential for you to build your social capital because it's just as important as your net worth, right? Next slide. Okay. And where can you network, right? So there's a lot of different avenues and places that you can go to network. You can look at your university affiliations, your faculty, your classmates, the people that are around you currently, right? Building those relationships and seeing how you can help others and not necessarily looking at networking as a tool for you to gain something out of. It's about planting those relationships and it's an investment. So really just connecting and helping others as you can. LinkedIn is one of the primary tools that you can go online and network with others. You can go on the you can type in your university, you can click on alumni, and you can see all those different people and all different roles across the country that you can reach out to. And even conferences. So the conference we're in now, right? Challenge yourself today, once you leave, to reach out to a few people, get those contacts and talk to them. Ask them, hey, how was your experience at the conference? What did you learn? And see if you can continue that relationship and see how you can both help each other mutually, right? And also those professional organizations that we talked about through those career snapshots, right? Look at those, you know, dive into them, see what events they have going on. A lot of times they have job boards on there as well. There is just an infinite amount of ways for you to network. And just a few key tips. Networking, you can network anywhere and there isn't a bad time to network, especially with COVID and everything going on, is that time to do it. And I know I'm just going to close on this. I love Simon Sinek, and he always says the value of networking is not measured by the number of people we meet, but by the number of people we introduce to others. So be that person to help others and connect them and build those relationships, because that's all networking is. So here's our contact info. If you want to know more, please reach out to us. Use one of us, contact all of us as a network opportunity, and we'd be happy to help. And we really hope that all of you gain some valuable insights today.